Raising Teens by Collett Smart with Ray Kington.
Do you ever feel weird?
As if.
Raising Teens, Ray Kington, joined by Collett Smart. We'd love to hear from you via the Hope Media app. You've got a question for us, shoot us a question, shoot us some feedback. We'd love to hear from you. Now, we've got a follow-on question from last week. What was the name of the lady?
Melanie.
Melanie. And she was talking about social media. She was talking about her teen and finding out that her teen had a second phone with some social media on there. So this week, let's talk about social media and teens. How do we handle it? How much do we need to check it? Yeah. How much privacy do we need to give? Before we get into that, I will tell you a funny story about checking devices. One night, I decided to check my daughter's phone. And so I've got the phone there, and I'm flipping through Snapchat, of which I had never used before.
Oh, no,
yeah.
Ray.
So here's your first problem. Don't do that if you don't know how to use the app. And I inadvertently took a photo of my foot, of my toe, and sent it to her best friend late at night. Nothing was said, so I assume that it just disappeared into the ether amongst the gazillion messages that they send to each other. And in that moment, as I'm Googling how to remove photo, furiously, I realised, man, you're old.
Yep.
You need to be careful. That was horrifying.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
It's like we can't keep up. I mean, when I was first talking to parents about social media, a lot of the things I was talking about 10 years ago don't exist, or they're not even important to our teenagers now.
Yeah.
And I think a natural thing for teenagers is to move to apps that aren't their parents' cup of tea, or that their parents aren't on. I mean, that's what we all did when we were young. We didn't follow the music our parents followed, or went to the area that adults socialized in. You used to find teen-only sites or teen-friendly sites. So that's kind of what teenagers do with social media. I mean, we know now Facebook is just for, middle-aged mums.
That's what I was told.
Yes.
That TikTok's the thing. But then today I was listening to a podcast talking about TikTok and how, suddenly it went from tweens to, 20-year-olds and then 30-year-olds. And now this guy who's a marketer was talking about how he's doing his marketing on TikTok.
Wow.
And he said, so now it's for 40-year-olds.
Wow.
And I thought, well, that thing's dead.
Yeah. Teenagers will be running as fast as they can. I know. And I think, we need to also recognize with this generation, it's the cliche, but we know that this generation doesn't get a break. There is no wall, or there are no walls around them. They're almost 24/7 with their peers, and that can be both exhausting but also exhilarating for them. And it's trying to, with our young people, just understand where they're at a little bit. Don't blame the tool, because it's not the tool that's the problem. It's the people behind the screens, obviously. But we also know for our young people, like we teach safety when you're walking out in the dark or whatever. We've got to teach safety on social media. We don't just let our children, when they're tiny, throw them in the pool and hope they'll swim. We teach them how to swim. We send them for lessons. We put fences up around pools. That is what we need to be doing with social media with our younger children. But even most social media apps, the age restriction is 13. So if children have got them or had them before, they've had to lie about their age to even get the app.
Oh, but Mum, Cara has Instagram.
Yep.
She's a 10. You're like, she's lying.
I was also shocked with my youngest is 13, and I was shocked when he was in year 4 how many young people had Snapchat.
Yeah.
And so the pressure was real. But that was non-negotiable for me. I was like, sorry, buddy, the rule is 13. Then I also say to teenagers, look, don't go home and tell your mum, the psychologist Collett Smart said 13. You go and talk to your parents about what works for them and what their boundaries are. So like Melanie's boundaries were 14. But I also say to parents, delay phones as long as you can. But like Melanie's daughter, she had to now catch public transport. So we are putting phones in our children's hands because we need to be able to check they're safe and they're getting to certain places.
We can track them. We can track them. It's golden. Couldn't do that in the 80s when you and I were running
Exactly.
around disappearing for hours upon end.
Look, the tracking apps, they're wonderful and terrible because I think for younger children and our teenagers, school-age teenagers, I think they're fantastic. I think once your kids are getting to young adults and you're insisting on tracking apps, that's another story. We do still use tracking apps, say with my daughter, but more that she can also see where we're at.
Yeah.
And sometimes she's going into the city now more and things like that. It's more for safety. But I've had to also watch that I bite my tongue and not stalk my children.
Yeah.
When they're young adults and they've given me the privilege of allowing me to see where they are.
Yes.
But I
Don't
would
abuse
say teenagers, absolutely. And I don't think particularly your young teens, 13, 14s, you must be checking. You should be checking their social media, seeing what they're doing, checking their privacy settings regularly, technology in public areas, absolutely. No phones in bedrooms, no phones after certain times at night. And parents will often say, but my child says you don't trust me, or what about my privacy? The point is, I say to parents, you say to your child, my job is to love you. And the way I love you at this stage is you might not understand certain things in the world that I do. And my job is to keep you safe and protect you at the moment. And I'm not saying you can't have social media, but these are the rules and boundaries around social media if you want it. So we need to recognize social media is part of our young people's socialization.
Yeah.
So it's the way they connect with each other. It's a wonderful tool for keeping in touch. But our young people who are struggling offline, we need to be aware they're going to struggle just as much online. If they're being bullied offline, you can bet they'll be bullied online. So just being aware that some of our children are very vulnerable and we need to be checking on them to help them navigate this online world. So it is a bit of a dance as parents, and as your children get a little bit older, as they get into their older, closer to young adults, you're obviously giving them more rope. My children, they had phones out of their bedrooms right until they finished year 12. And I said, I'm responsible for your education. You need to be getting sleep. You need to be studying. Once you're out of school, then, you can make choices, adult choices for yourself. But I believe that our job is to look after our children, and social media is one of the areas that we don't need to stalk them, but we do need to be checking up and checking that they're safe.
Absolutely. And if you spend any time with your teen, you'll know that constantly that phone is going bzz, bzz, bzz,
Yeah.
bzz, bzz, and you're like, wow.
They get no break.
How could you sleep through that?
Yes.
I'm lucky if one person messages
Yes.
me a day. Maybe that's just me. Alrighty. We'd love to hear from you via the Hope Media app. So get in touch and we'd love to chat to you.